I'm going through a really tough time, and now my own mother and grandmother are almost trying to bribe me into keeping quiet about something. Here's the background. I'm 20 years old, and I thought I was one of 4 siblings until a few days ago. There's me, my twin brother Eddie, 20 years old, and 2 older half-siblings, Reuben, 24 years old, and Grace, 23 years old. Reuben is my mom's first child, and Grace is my dad's first child. About 2 years ago, our grandmother on my mom's side had cancer, and my mom went to live with her for a while to help with her care. During that time, we didn't see her because our grandmother lives halfway across the country. Also, Eddie and I were busy with our school exams, and Reuben was staying with his dad in England. Even our dad couldn't visit her due to his busy work schedule. When my mom returned after 6 months, she was different. She seemed very sad and was constantly clinging to me and my brother. I initially thought she was just missing us while she was away. 2 years passed, and during a recent visit home, I accidentally knocked over my mom's handbag and everything fell out. While cleaning up, I noticed a picture in her wallet of her in a hospital bed with a newborn baby. I was confused and initially thought it was a picture of her with me or one of my brothers as babies. However, the date on the photo corresponded to the time she was away with my grandmother. I confronted my mom about it, and at first she froze, but then she tried to evade the topic and change the subject. I insisted on getting an explanation and told her that I would inform Dad if she didn't tell me. That's when she started crying and confessed everything. She had an affair with another man who is not my dad. This affair started in 2018, she got pregnant in 2019, and she gave birth in early 2020. I have a baby brother, and she had kept this baby a secret, and none of us noticed. My grandmother was aware of the affair and covered for her. She didn't actually have cancer and had lied about receiving chemotherapy and surgeries. I can't believe I was so naive, and I'm incredibly angry with her. I inquired about the pregnancy and the involvement of the other man. It turns out that she didn't go to my grandmother's place to have the baby. Instead, she went to the other end of town to the home of her affair partner and never left his house. What's even worse is that the AP was 24 years old at the time and already had 2 kids, but at least he was single. During her pregnancy, she stayed with her AP and his children and eventually left the baby with him. I wanted to learn more about this man, so I looked him up and realized I know him. He happens to be the son of a family friend, and I've seen him around town with my baby brother without even knowing the truth. Since discovering all of this, I haven't been doing well. My mom keeps trying to talk to me, but I either lock her out of the room or stay close to my dad to avoid any discussions. Whenever she does manage to talk to me, she resorts to various tactics to keep me quiet, including attempting to bribe me with money or shopping trips. She even got my grandmother to try and guilt-trip me. I'm at a loss about what to do. Has anyone experienced something similar? Any advice you can offer? Should I reach out to this man and ask about my brother? Should I tell my dad? I don't even know if she's still having the affair or if she's involved in my brother's life at all. Update. So those who messaged me and friends I've talked to all advised me to tell my dad, and that's exactly what I did. Initially, he was in complete denial, even when I showed him the picture of my mom with my secret baby brother and used the texts my mom and grandma sent me as evidence. I had never seen him cry before, not even when my uncle passed away a few years ago. I had never witnessed him tearing up like this. Later on, my mom returned home, and my dad confronted her with screams and shouts, and it was a terrible scene. I showed all the evidence to my brothers and sister, and my half-sister even got into a physical fight with my mom. I felt incredibly guilty about revealing all of this. My mom has gone to my grandma's place, and neither of my brothers is speaking to her. When it became known who my mom's affair partner was, my mom's friend group kind of distanced themselves from her. He, the affair partner, was the son of one of her close friends who already had kids. I wish I could go back to not knowing any of this. I don't believe my family will ever fully recover. My older half-brother is in England and is determined to stay there. My brother is angry with Mom and isn't speaking to her either. Dad is emotionally devastated, talking about hiring a tough lawyer to divorce my mom, and my mom is distraught, blaming me but also demanding that I talk to her because she doesn't want to lose any more of her children. Edit. Mom initially planned to deceive my dad into believing that the baby was his and raising it, but her affair partner said he wouldn't allow that and wanted to be a part of his child's life. He threatened to reveal their secret. So she ultimately left her child with him. Update. Hello again, folks. A lot has happened since my last update, so I thought I'd post one final time. I believe and hope the situation is nearing its end. My parents are getting a divorce, and my dad filed for it not long after he found out about the baby. Mom tried to convince him otherwise, but it was in vain. My brothers still refuse to talk to her, and my half-sister continues to harbor strong negative feelings towards her. I still feel guilty for setting all of this in motion, although not as intensely as before. My dad wanted to hear what her affair partner had to say for himself, and I accompanied him to ensure things didn't escalate into violence. When we arrived at his doorstep, it seemed like he had been expecting this confrontation. During this encounter, I got to meet my little brother and spend time with him. It turns out that my mom initially planned to pass the baby off as my dad's, but her affair partner wanted to be a part of his child's life and threatened to reveal their affair. This wouldn't have worked anyway because the baby clearly looks nothing like my dad or mom. Both my parents are fair-skinned with blonde hair, while my baby brother has pure black hair and an olive skin tone like his dad. Regarding the affair partner told us that our mom had informed him that my parents were in an open marriage, a sort of don't ask, don't tell arrangement. He went along with it and only found out later when my mom became pregnant that she had lied. He showed us texts between them, confirming that he believed it was acceptable to meet up with my mom for closeness. My dad broke down in tears on this man's couch, and the affair partner comforted him. This man had felt immensely guilty about lying to my dad's face when they'd see each other around town or at friends' barbecues, but didn't want to ruin our family. He then sent screenshots of the texts between him and my mom to my dad for use in court against her, as she's currently trying to get as much as she can from him. My relationship with my mom is still strained, and anytime she tries to blame me, I remind her that her own actions caused all of this. I have chosen to distance myself from her for a while. She pleaded with me not to do that, but I ended up blocking her just like my brothers did. Since then, I've returned to college and have a planned trip with my sister to go on vacation to Jamaica to visit our grandma, so that's the only thing I have to look forward to these days. Some people have been confused about the family dynamics, especially regarding me and my siblings and our ethnicities. My twin brother and I are the biological children of both my mom and dad, and are fair-skinned Americans with blonde hair. My older half-brother, who is my mom's first child, currently lives in England with his dad. My older half-sister, who is my dad's first child from a previous relationship with a Jamaican woman who passed away when my sister was young. My baby half-brother, whom my mom had with her affair partner. Her affair partner is of Italian and Native American descent. Both my parents have blonde hair, pale skin, and blue eyes.
All right, that was a fun story. Now let's move on to another exciting one. Stay tuned and let's dive in.
Story 2. I'm a 51-year-old man who has been married to a 51-year-old woman for 33 years, and we have 3 adult children. Throughout these past 33 years, my wife and I have had a pretty typical loving marriage. We've had our fair share of ups and downs, as any long-term relationship does, but we always resolve our issues before bedtime, and we're each other's closest friends. I'm a romantic at heart, while she's less emotional about romance, but she appreciates the romantic gestures I constantly make. I often express my love through letters, texts, emails, and surprise date nights. We also share moments of closeness every weekend, usually on Saturdays and Sundays. We have a warm and loving home, and neither of us has any complaints. To give you a bit of my background, I was raised by a single mother, and I never had any information about my biological father. My mother kept everything about him a secret, which she took to her grave. My wife, our children, and I have always been curious about my father's identity. One of our children gifted me an ancestry DNA test for my birthday this year, thinking it might help uncover information about my biological father. The kids decided to take the tests as well, since their ancestry is connected to my mysterious father. When we received our DNA test results, they were incredibly surprising. As you might have guessed, the results revealed that my 2 eldest children are not biologically mine. We all received our results separately, but the kids had discussed their findings among themselves before sharing with us. They asked if we could have a family dinner at our house to discuss something important. During the dinner, they dropped a bombshell on us. They revealed that they had compared their findings and discovered that my two oldest children are not biologically related to me. The youngest child, however, is indeed mine. They asked if we had anything to say. My immediate response was disbelief, assuming there must be some mistake. However, when I looked at my wife's face, I realized there was no error. She had a terrified expression I had never seen before. This composed, level-headed woman I had been married to for 33 years yelled something unintelligible and rushed to our bedroom, slamming the door shut. We tried to coax her out, but she remained inside, unresponsive. At this point, we were all in shock and disbelief. She sent us messages, asking for a few hours of solitude to collect her thoughts before rejoining us at the table for further discussion. We reluctantly agreed to her request, but those 2 hours felt like an eternity, and my mind was filled with countless questions about what was happening. I still clung to the belief that this had to be some kind of mistake, as there was no doubt in my mind that these children were mine. After all, my wife and I weren't the type to party, and had always lived a relatively conservative lifestyle, focused on family and wholesome activities. After 2 hours, she came out and requested the kids to leave so she could speak with me alone. She assured them that she would inform them of the situation as soon as possible. They hesitated but eventually agreed and left, promising to return if they didn't hear back soon. At that moment, I sat there, feeling as if this couldn't be real. It was like watching a movie, except I was a part of it. Then she told me something that has profoundly changed my life. I hope it's not irreversible, but it certainly feels that way. She looked into my eyes and said, "This has to do with an affair I had that lasted for about 4 years until I realized what an amazing husband I had and that I needed to grow up and stop behaving foolishly." With her hands on my cheeks, she drew me close and whispered, "Look into my eyes. You mean the world to me. I want to be with you for the rest of my life. I love you with all my heart. Many years ago, I made a terrible and selfish decision. You've done nothing wrong. You've been the best husband any woman could ever ask for, and I hope we can put this behind us and remember the wonderful life we've had together. We shouldn't let this foolish, painful mistake ruin it." She assured me she'd answer any questions, do whatever I wanted, and even leave if I asked, but she emphasized that I was everything to her, and that she hadn't thought about cheating on me once since it ended. The man she had an affair with is no longer alive. They didn't love each other, but they convinced themselves that having an affair improved their marriages. It's heartbreaking to know that my daughters are not biologically mine, and they share this sadness. They want to learn more about their biological father, which can be frustrating for me. They both reassure me that I am their father and that they love me wholeheartedly, but we all acknowledge the truth. He was the biological father. It's also worth noting that before the DNA test, my wife had no knowledge of this. What saddens me is that the woman I held in the highest regard for love, respect, and admiration had an affair for years. She has loved and honored me for decades, but she also deceived me. What truly breaks my heart is the thought, was my entire adult life up to this point a lie? Was my entire marriage a facade? Is anything real in this world? She has been an incredible wife and companion. Even during her affair, I had no complaints about our marriage. What saddens me further is that this man passed away from cancer a few years ago, so I can't confront him face to face and potentially express my anger. It saddens me to think that I was her first and only love. I only had one awkward teenage encounter in the back seat of a car with a former girlfriend before my wife. Now I've discovered that she had a long-lasting relationship with this man. How can I come to terms with that? This all unfolded recently. Our 33rd wedding anniversary is approaching next month, and I'm unsure of what to do. Following my request, she has been staying with her sister and her husband. We're both utterly heartbroken. Everyone I've spoken to about this situation assures me that my wife is indeed a wonderful wife, that she was very young when this happened, and that rationally, I know it's all true. But my heart isn't being logical right now. I was genuinely content with my life, cherishing my wife and children with all my heart. Can I ever return to that state, Or has this revelation irreversibly altered the course of my life? I'm feeling completely lost at the moment and have even had thoughts of ending my life. If I can't forgive her and put this behind us, I contemplate ending it. I have no desire to live a life without the happiness we've shared. Aside from my family, I don't have much affection for the world. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I asked my wife to return about 10 days ago, and tomorrow is our 33rd wedding anniversary. These days we all feel like zombies. I'm unsure how to handle this situation. At present, I'm not seeing a therapist or anyone else. I've confided in a few people, but I don't have a close confidant. For the past 33 years, my wife has held that position. Of course, I didn't go through with ending my life and have decided not to consider it in the future. I've taken care of all the necessary arrangements. I even researched the legal and insurance aspects of ending life, including life insurance, pension death benefits, and so on. Everything would be in order. If I were to pass naturally, my wife and children would still receive the same benefits. My daughters and I share a unique bond. We constantly affirm our love and that I'm still their father, but it feels different now, and I'm uncertain if it will ever be the same. I'm certain that I'll never be the same again. It's unbelievable how an ancestral DNA test of all things revealed my wife's secret. She had intended to keep this secret buried with her forever. According to her and the only other person who knew, her sister, it had haunted her for decades. She realized the risk she was taking and how foolish, selfish, and immature she had been once the cloud had lifted. She's the youngest in her family and used to be a daddy's girl, incredibly spoiled when we first met. We've informed the other man's family since my children and I thought that, being part of his lineage, they should be aware. Needless to say, they have plenty of shocked individuals on their side now. Welcome to the club. My daughters have met some half-siblings they didn't even know existed. They're lovely girls who keep saying things like, "You'll always be my dad," and "I love my dad." And I appreciate it, but it's not the same. It simply isn't. They don't share my blood. They never did. My wife has been struggling with dark thoughts recently. She's devastated that this has come back to haunt her. She had hoped to take this secret to her grave and was prepared to endure the sadness and shame as her atonement, punishment for what she had done. She's been saying things like this for years, like, "You're too good for me. Why are you so kind to me? I don't deserve you." Or, "I'm a terrible person and I don't know why I was blessed with a spouse like you. I don't deserve you." I had assumed it was due to low self-esteem because she was a wonderful person, a great wife and mother who deserved a good husband who treated her well. One of my life's main missions was to be the husband she deserved. Throughout the years, my personal career has suffered because I made the choice when I was young that my family always comes first. I turned down numerous higher-paying jobs because they required 25–50% travel. We were never rich or even well off, but we had enough to cover our expenses and spend quality time together as a family. That was and still is immensely important to me. My family means more to me than anything else. It's a devastating blow to discover that the family I cherished above all else wasn't truly mine. My two daughters, who were the center of my world, are no longer biologically mine. Reflecting on what my wife confessed, I now understand the remorse she felt for committing such a terrible act while having a beautiful family life. She had a loving spouse and adoring children. Those things she used to say now make sense. She's committed to doing everything I ask and is actively researching how to contribute to our family's healing. She's seeking therapy to cope with the overwhelming guilt and shame that have suddenly surfaced and are weighing her down. She can't even look our kids in the eyes. They held her in high regard. We all did. I can sense your pain. She not only feels the pain of being caught and how it affects her, but she also feels the deep regret and sorrow for realizing what she has done to us. We've started discussing the matter. It's challenging since we both break down emotionally. Our hearts are shattered. We got married when we were quite young. I was 19 and we had our first child at 21. We became husband and wife and parents at a very early age, and that defined us. She was an exceptionally good mother and wife. She admits that she was still very young, spoiled, selfish, entitled, and resentful that she was off the market as a wife and mother at 21, while her friends were still enjoying attention from boys and sowing their wild oats. She felt she had missed out. But she doesn't regret marrying me at such a young age because she loved me and didn't want to lose me. She clarified that neither of them ever discussed leaving their families to be together. They were each other's escape from the routine of everyday family life. She wants me to know that although her words may not mean much to me, and she acknowledges that she's a liar who did a terrible thing, if I consider anything, I must know without a doubt that her heart has always belonged to one person in her life, and that person is me. She affirmed that being my wife and the mother of our children has been the greatest joy of her life. She believes there's no way to miraculously fix this, and if she could speak to her younger self, she would urge her not to commit this dreadful act. What may seem harmless can shatter your life. She keeps saying it was all her fault, that she was foolish, greedy, immature, and did a terrible thing to me and our family. She said I didn't deserve it, and if I couldn't remain married to her, it would devastate her. But she would understand and want what's best for me. She emphasized that whether we stay married or not, she will love only me until the day she dies. During her stay with her sister, she had some profound conversations, and her sister told her that she used to be a spoiled brat back then, but had grown into a wonderful woman over the years. It was now time to face the consequences, be completely honest about everything, and throw herself on the mercy of the court. That's exactly what she's doing. One thing that bothers me is how everyone, including my wife and children, treats me as if I've just received a dire cancer diagnosis. They're genuinely sad and don't know what to say, so they're being extremely sympathetic. I appreciate their concern, but I wouldn't know what to say to someone in this situation. Yesterday, my wife asked if I wanted to commemorate our anniversary in any way. She mentioned she'd like to do something nice for me if I'd allow it, but she understands if I don't want to acknowledge it. I replied, "Don't be silly. We're going to our favorite Mexican restaurant, just like we've done for years. Despite everything, we've reached 33 years. We have new life challenges to face, and we will." This brought a brief smile to her face before she burst into tears. She's been crying a lot lately, and her sister has advised her to try to stop. So, here's the situation. I've had time to process everything, and all I've done is think about it over and over. I've examined it from every angle and considered every detail and possible scenario. What she did all those years ago was a foolish, selfish, hurtful, and wicked act that breaks my heart like never before. However, my heart will heal. Life is a mix of joy and sorrow, and though this is a tough period, joy will return. I strive to be a resilient person. I've grieved and analyzed this thoroughly, and I know what I'm going to do, and my decision won't change. Tomorrow evening, before dinner, I plan to express my deep appreciation to my wife for being an exceptional wife and mother to our children. I couldn't have asked for a better life partner to share the ups and downs with. As she has said, my heart has always belonged exclusively to her since the day we met at our part-time job in a small retail store when we were 17 years old. I've always cherished her and continue to do so. Each day I thank God for her presence in my life as my wife. Even now, tomorrow night I'll tell my wife that I forgive her for this foolish incident and that, aside from that, she's been the best wife and mother a man could ever hope for. We'll shed some tears, hold each other, and console one another. Then, we'll go out to dinner and perhaps watch the new version of A Star is Born before celebrating our anniversary. I will continue to love, cherish, and respect my wife just as I have for the past 33 years, and she will do the same for me. My love for all of my children remains as strong as the day they were born. I'll be a pillar of strength and support for any of them who need to express their feelings or talk about this situation, but I won't bring it up again. I understand what happened, and I can't change it. We'll face it together, and I won't allow it to drive us apart. It might sound strange at 51 years old, but I believe we've grown and matured through this heartbreaking experience. I sympathize with anyone going through something similar. It's painful. I'm not the best person to give advice, but I would encourage anyone reading this not to let it destroy them, as I initially feared. Be brave and best of luck. Update. I'm still in shock and without words. I need time for this to sink in before I contemplate the future. I talked to my sister-in-law who mentioned that my wife is deeply upset. She acknowledged that she'd always known this would come back to haunt her and had worked hard over the years to make amends for her past actions. They're trying to convince her to see a therapist, just as my friends and family are urging me to do. I haven't decided whether I want to stay in this world. I'm still pondering it. I don't fear death because I've lived a wonderful life so far. I have no desire to live any other life, a new life, or a different life. That doesn't appeal to me. I need to determine if there's a way to return to the life I had built with my wife and family. If there is, I'll stay. If not, I won't. Thank you once again to everyone who took the time to respond. I've read and considered every comment and will continue to do so. It's comforting to think that even in a harsh world, a group of strangers would not hesitate to offer support to someone they've never met. I have a complex history. We're working hard to overcome this. Last Saturday, I drove by a Chevrolet dealership and inexplicably came to a halt. An hour later, I had traded in my aging Camry for a 2018 Camaro ZL1. I've always wanted a fantastic car, and now I have one. My wife was genuinely happy for me, and I'm thrilled with this vehicle. But that's not the whole story. I had a work meeting this morning, and the VP of Financial Operations was his usual unpleasant self, adding more unnecessary stress to my department. I've attended countless meetings like these. After about 30 minutes, I felt a strong urge to leave. I got up, walked out, and got in my car. I started driving west and have been on the road for a few hours, covering several hundred miles. I'm headed to California, a place I've always wanted to live but never had the chance to. I haven't left my wife. I'm just not sure what I'm doing right now. All I know is that I really love this car, and I'm headed to California. I can't stand my job, and I won't be going back. When I reach California, I'm not sure about my plans. Maybe I'll send for my wife, maybe not. At this moment, I'm uncertain about a lot of things, but one thing is for sure. I'm feeling fantastic. I haven't felt this great in a long time. Is this feeling of exhilaration due to a nervous breakdown? I don't believe I'm going crazy. In fact, I feel oddly clear-headed and coherent. All I can say for certain is that I'll be in San Diego, and there are 2,275 miles to go. I've finished my meal, and am about to hit the road. There's no one in my life I can talk to about this, and I apologize if I've disappointed anyone. I'm trying to stay strong, but I just needed to get away. My life has undergone significant changes in the past 2 months. In some ways, I don't even remember who I used to be or how I felt before all of this happened. It's as if I remember something, but it feels like a distant memory. I feel like a completely different person now, and I doubt I'll ever be the same again. My marriage used to be the most important part of my life, and it shaped a big part of who I was. I'm not sure how to make sense of it all. Anyway, I eventually returned home. My time in California was enjoyable. I met many interesting people and had conversations with some attractive women my age. For a while, I was able to put this strange situation behind me and be someone else. I called my boss and managed to secure a leave of absence. They now know what's happening, which I don't like, but at least they're more understanding and willing to give me the time I need to deal with it. I still have the Camaro, and it's parked outside my office. I really love that car and drive it fast wherever I go. I've realized that I dislike my job. I used to think I enjoyed it, but I think I enjoyed the life it provided for my wife and us. I don't care about that life anymore, and without it, I've started seeing many things differently. I don't want to work for anyone else. I'm working on a plan to leave. I have a substantial retirement fund, and even if I have to split it with my wife, if it comes to that, I'll be okay. I'm considering opening a bar or diner in a trendy neighborhood. I'm quite skilled at cooking for large groups and enjoy it. I can make various dishes like burgers, tacos, fajitas, and more. Perfect bar grub. It's just an idea for now. We'll see how it unfolds. When it comes to my wife, I'm back home, but I don't fulfill the role of a husband anymore. I'm not unkind to her, and we are still legally married, but I'm just not emotionally invested. I've lost the ability to care for her in the way a husband typically does, and I don't see that changing. It's a comfortable situation for me. I live life on my terms, making my own decisions without consulting anyone. While she tries to keep me informed about her activities, I reassure her it's unnecessary. She's very considerate towards me, but I'm pretty sure she's feeling self-conscious. I believe she once appreciated the high level of respect I had for her in our relationship. Yes, I did. I held my wife in higher regard than any other person in my life. Now, I no longer hold her in any regard whatsoever. It's as if she erased the biggest and most wonderful part of my life up to that point. Our relationship. Naturally, everyone offers me advice. Try marriage therapy. That was such a long time ago. Don't let a mistake from the past ruin the best thing in your life. She's been an incredible wife and mother. Give her credit for that, and so on. Everyone in my life seems to have an opinion on how I should recover and what steps I should take. Honestly, I have no idea what the future holds, and right now, I couldn't care less. I'm comfortable in my home. I've moved to the finished basement and have the freedom to come and go as I please. My wife doesn't hassle me, pressure me, or nag me. I suppose she's just relieved that I'm still around. I think she believes we can work through this as long as I'm at home and haven't initiated divorce proceedings. I don't have a response to that, and it doesn't bother me in the slightest. I'll take action when I have a clear solution or path forward, but two things are certain. I won't rush into anything. I'm going to live my life for myself and do as I please. No one else will have a say in my future except for me. Of course, I still love my daughters, and my bond with the whole family remains strong. They're not to blame for any of this. I just with them now, saying that I used to expect one of them to donate a kidney to me if I ever needed one, but I suppose only my son could do that. I'd like to pretend that nothing has changed between us, but that would be a lie. It's different for each of us, and it will never be the same again, but we'll find a way to work through it. That's where I am right now. It's approximately 3:30 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, and I'm heading out for the weekend. Is it appropriate for a department head to leave at 3:30 p.m.? Probably not. Do I care? Absolutely not. By the way, even though I used to be a suit-wearing executive while all the other directors and higher-ups still are, I now wear jeans and Skechers shoes to work every day. Do I care about what others think of my attire? Not one bit. That's how it is because it's comfortable. The dark thoughts that were once there when people inquired about my situation are mostly gone now. I'm feeling much better these days, but in a different way. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I know I will because I'm now in charge of my own entertainment.